Hello and welcome to our look into 2026 with myself, Jessica Burt, Katrina Anderson, and of course the Mills Reeve food regulatory mascot, Bella. We're going to be looking together at what the main areas for the food sector to be concerned about in 2026 and divided them very broadly into health, the environment, food security, and Europe and regulated products. So, Katrina, looking first at health, it's a massive part of what might be happening next year. What are your main issues to look out for in 2026?
Well, I think in 2026, the big obvious one is, of course, that the new restrictions on products which are high in fat, salt and sugar, or HFSS, and categorised as less healthy for advertising, are going to come in. We know that there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on that. The ASA is going to be using its active ad monitoring to scrape. We imagine the campaigning groups will make complaints. So all those like little borderline issues that we've all been wondering about where the boundaries are on the categories, what's an identifiable product, will probably become the focus of that enforcement. And we can expect a heavy enforcement environment in the first half of the year, I think. And then second half of the year, I imagine we will have a lot more clarity on those kind of edges because of the enforcement, and things hopefully should settle down. But I also think we're going to start to talk about where the agenda is going next here, because childhood obesity is not going away. We've obviously had an announcement about the new thresholds for the sugar tax, which we knew about, but maybe we'll be having discussions about should there be taxes on UPFs, should the sugar tax be extended to other categories, and also we're going to start to feel more and more of what we're calling the GLP-1 effect. Is there going to be a shift much more into like fibre and protein claims to target those consumers that are on GLP-1s?
No, that's great. And the refortifications and reformulations, where those boundaries are going to be crucial for the food business going forward. But the next main area, would be looking at what the environment would involve and where we might be going on that front.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know you've been very interested in this EU directive that's coming in, that's going to really change the game on environmental claims in the EU.
The empowering the consumer for the green transition.
Absolutely.
The Green Claims Directive has dropped by the wayside, but this ECGT has passed. It's due to be enacted March and enforced September next year. And so the food sector who has got food on the market in Europe will have to look at the prohibition against making broad environmental claims and the sustainability labels, and what that would actually involve for them on the ensuring their packaging and advertising is revised. Other parts that I've been involved with is the look at the PFAS, the forever chemicals, the food contact materials restrictions in Europe that will be coming in, as well as our own extended producer responsibility.
Absolutely, yes.
And where that would be the packaging waste directive and what the claims for recycled products might be. And the other area, I suppose, that brings us into would be in relation to food security and what that means for the own UK food sector.
Yes, absolutely. And food security has, in the last few years, kind of really popped up as a big driver of food policy. And we understand that it is going to be a really important driver of what DEFRA is doing. It's also fed into interest in things like the cultivated meat sandbox as an alternative route to food security. So there's a lot going on there.
And that brings us in, I suppose, to the importance of data and how close you will be within Europe with the current negotiations that are going on.
Absolutely, yes. So negotiations started on the SPS agreement last week. We understand they're going to be ongoing for around 18 months. So the reality is we are probably not going to see an agreement in 2026, but I think what we will see in 2026 is some understanding about what that's going to look like, how wide the definition of products it's going to capture is, and importantly, whether the UK is going to get the exemptions that it wants for the gene edited, for the regulated products, and also potentially also for animal welfare, because that's hugely significant.
So really interesting times ahead.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Katrina.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Bella.